watching WUFT Midday.
One of the most powerful storms to hit the area since the late 80s, Hurricane Melissa is set to make landfall in Jamaica early Tuesday morning. Taking a live look at the harbor in the nation's capital of Kingston, you can see the waves intensifying as the Category 5 storm heads towards the country. Meteorologists say Jamaica could get hit with 40 inches of rain. This is WUFT Midday. I'm Catherine Chapman.
And I am Oriana Torre. Melissa is not the only weather story forecasters are watching. Closer to home, major flooding happened over the weekend in Central Florida with more storms forecast for today. In Titusville, you can see vehicles stuck in floodwaters after the area saw several feet of rain Sunday. Roads were shut down and drivers were encouraged to find other ways to get around. And photos from Mount Dora show heavy rains battering the area. FWC officers used boats to rescue people from flooded homes and stalled cars. Let's get over to UF forecaster Aiden Wacksman live in the weather studio, tracking Melissa and timing out the rains coming here to north central Florida.
That's right, Hurricane Melissa, a very strong storm right now. You can see a really well-defined eye here. Those darker colors on your screen here indicating higher cloud tops, stronger thunderstorms, just really well organized. This is actually the strongest storm in terms of pressure that we've seen this Atlantic hurricane season at 908 millibars. Our friends in Jamaica keeping a really close eye on this storm as it gets ready to make landfall early tomorrow morning. Areas in Jamaica, also in eastern Cuba and western Haiti could see really heavy rainfall totals. We're talking isolated totals of upwards of 2 feet, even about 30 inches for those of us in parts of eastern Jamaica as well as that storm makes landfall. The right front quadrant of this storm is where a lot of the most damaging effects will be packed, so keeping a close eye on exactly where that eye heads over the next couple of days as the storm moves off to the east and well to the northeast of Cuba. But this is a very slow-moving storm, which is why those rain totals are going to be so high for some of us. The path for this storm, the good news for us in Florida is that this should start to really move off to the north-northeast. We have a cold front that should kind of deflect this storm away from us and off into the tropical Atlantic. So that is some good news for us, but parts of Bermuda also keeping an eye on this storm as it continues to move off to the northeast. Let's bring it back home. Some clouds overhead, 81 degrees, some light winds coming out of the south. The sun was trying to peek out a little bit earlier, but still pretty cloudy out there right now, and temperatures staying relatively cool for most of us, also staying in those high 70s, low 80s at the moment. Coming up, I'll let you know just how much rain we can expect. There is some rain ahead of a cold front on the way.
President Trump and China's President Xi Jinping will sit down face-to-face to hash out a trade agreement. It's their first meeting since President Trump's return to office, and as Reed Binion reports, the talks come after months of escalating threats between the two countries.
I believe that we have the framework for the two leaders to have a very productive meeting for both sides.
U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent on Sunday outlining the framework for a U.S.-China trade deal to avoid imposing an additional 100% tariff on Chinese imports.
I think it will be fantastic for U.S. citizens, for U.S. farmers, and for our country in general.
President Donald Trump is set to meet with Chinese leader Xi Jinping Thursday in South Korea on the final leg of Trump's three-country tour of Asia. On Air Force One over the weekend, Trump previewed what he hopes to achieve with the meeting.
A complete deal. I want our farmers to be taken care of, and he wants things also. We're going to be talking about fentanyl, of course. I think we have a really good chance of making a very comprehensive deal.
Halting Chinese exports of fentanyl's precursor chemicals was part of the framework U.S. and Chinese negotiators reached. On another component of the framework, Bessent said China will make substantial purchases of U.S. soybeans.
I'm also anticipating that we will get some kind of a deferral on the rare earth export controls that the Chinese had discussed.
Also, the two leaders are expected to finalize the deal to allow TikTok's U.S. operations to continue. In September, the White House announced an American investor group led by Oracle's Larry Ellison would operate the app's algorithm in the U.S. I'm Reed Binion reporting.
The government shutdown is now in its 27th day, and the Federal Aviation Administration says there are staffing shortages at 21 air traffic control facilities across the country. That's more than 4 times the number of shortages the FAA reported during the same period a year ago. FlyAware reported more than 4,000 flight delays across the country on Saturday. Some of those delays were attributed to poor weather conditions in places like Texas.
California Governor Gavin Newsom is teasing a potential 2028 presidential run. When asked if he was serious about it on Sunday, Newsom said, "Yeah, I'd be lying otherwise." Newsom went on to say that his focus right now is midterms and helping Democrats regain control of the House of Representatives. Former Vice President Kamala Harris is also hinting she may run for president again. In an interview with the BBC, Harris said, "I am not done." It marked her clearest statement yet that she might launch another presidential campaign in 2028 after her 2024 defeat to President Trump. Harris also expressed confidence that America will see a woman in the Oval Office in the future. While no final decision has been made, Harris still views herself as an active player in American politics.
Police in Ocala need your help tracking down a hit-and-run driver that killed a pedestrian. Investigators say they are now looking for the driver of a 2011 white Chevy. The crash happened late last week on Northwest Bleachern Road when two pedestrians were crossing US 27. Witnesses told detectives that they saw the driver stop after the crash, but they eventually kept driving without calling 911. Police are asking anyone with information to step forward. We have an update on the case of the Marion County teen who allegedly faked his own kidnapping. A 17-year-old was arrested last week for multiple charges related to the suspect abduction hoax and shooting himself in the leg. We are no longer naming him or showing his picture as he's being tried as a juvenile. According to a statement from the prosecutor's office, he pled not contest Thursday morning and will skip a trial. He's set to be sentenced next month.
The City of Ocala will host a public input meeting on road safety. It's being hosted by the Engineering Department. This marks the second community road safety planning meeting. It's set to take place November 5th to discuss a couple of efforts. Those are designed to reduce serious safety accidents on Ocala's roadways. The plan also focuses on slowing traffic in neighborhoods and near schools. In 2023, the city received a grant to improve road safety and is using it for the project.
With Halloween fast approaching, families are already getting in the spirit. An annual trunk or treat event was hosted this weekend in Bellevue. Families were able to trick or treat, experience a haunted hay ride, and dress up in costumes. There were also food trucks and activities around Lake Lillian, where the event was hosted. More than 65 organizers supported the event.
Neighbors in a Florida Central community say they are rattled by what they say is an inappropriate Halloween display, and they want it taken down. But one neighbor is welcoming the display that's got people talking. Reporter Alex Cook went to the neighborhood to check out what all the fuss is about.
She said it's not your typical spooky decor. This one's got skeletons in suggestive poses, a pole, and it's all out in the open where kids walk to school. So, of course, we had to come see it for ourselves. Now I'm here to figure out what this means for this family-focused community and where the line gets drawn between Halloween fun and what's appropriate in neighborhoods like this.
Gabriella, who lives right across the street, says she sees it as all in good fun.
Woohoo! Na, 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 na. Woohoo! No problem. I can sit here. Let's have something fun. Woohoo!
She says her two kids love it too.
I have two kids and they like to see the skeleton. They are dancing. No problem for us.
But not everyone in the neighborhood agrees. In addition to the anonymous tip, we found heated debates on the neighborhood's social media page. One poster said, "I don't see stripping as art. Whether it's skeletons or cartoons, I wouldn't want my kids exposed to sexual innuendos." Another responded, "If you want to see it as sexual, that's your take. Does it show the skeleton removing clothes? How do you know if it's a female or male skeleton?" Another neighbor said, "We live here too. This is very inappropriate." One resident even contacted the Homeowners Association, which replied, "Unfortunately, the HOA cannot do anything about this. Halloween decorations are allowed, and residents can put up whatever holiday decorations they prefer." The HOA advised that the offended neighbor should wait until Halloween is over next weekend, when the display will come down. Meanwhile, Gabriella says she's more worried about the scary, gory displays than this one.
I'm afraid when they put a lot of some scare things with no head, something like that, but this is so fun. There's no problem here.
Whether they're for or against it, neighbors in this neighborhood can expect to keep seeing this display until after Halloween.
That was Alex Cook reporting. The people who owned the home and the display were not available for an interview.
As we inch closer to Halloween, several agencies in north central Florida are making their presence known to keep children and families safe. The Alachua County Sheriff's Office announced their deputies will conduct sexual predator and offender address verifications. They says it's to ensure individuals are in compliance with registration requirements. Department officials says people who don't comply will be arrested. And in Bradford County, the Sheriff's Office says it will participate in several events throughout the month. The fall enforcement operation places deputies after sporting events and fall festivals to maintain a presence promoting public safety. The department's sex offender unit will also conduct compliance checks. They say these are proactive measures to protect the community.
Hey, North Central Florida, we got some showers and storms on the way. I'll time those out for you coming up in just a few minutes.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Welcome back. Taking a live look at our roadways this noon hour, you can see smooth travels on I-75 through Paynes Prairie in Alachua County. You also might have seen the clouds overhead and the dark skies in the background. UF forecaster Aiden Wacksman is back with us in the weather studio, timing out today's showers.
Yeah, we are definitely looking at some showers in the forecast later today. Right now, just mostly cloudy skies out there, 81 degrees with some light winds, pretty high humidity values. That's a bit of a change from last week where we had some drier weather. 81 out here in Gainesville at the airport, but a little bit to our north, Bradford 78, and even further north, Lake City, Live Oak sitting at 73 degrees. So a bit humid, but still relatively cooler compared to what we usually see for this time of year. We had this warm front move through. That's why we're getting some more humidity right now and why we're seeing some lower differences between our high temperatures and our low temperatures. We also have this cold front about to roll through, and that is really going to deliver some cooler temperatures once it passes. But right now what we're looking at is how some of these showers and storms will affect us along and behind this cold front as it continues to move to the east a little bit later today. We can definitely expect some showers around the 2 o'clock hour. If we take a closer look at the radar here, we can see some thunderstorms kind of getting started here in parts of Perry and along the Gulf Coast as well. And also along the Gulf here, some of these storms getting a little bit more fuel because of the access to water. So as these come more onto land, we'll definitely see some stronger storms. We've actually had plenty of rain over the past couple of days. This weekend in Lake County, we were looking at some rain totals around a foot. So that is definitely something in that area that more rain would be a concern. But if we look over here on the west coast, barely any rain. So it just goes to show you how on the east coast and in central Florida, there were definitely more showers and storms this weekend. If we're looking ahead to the rest of the day, you're definitely going to want to have that umbrella ready, maybe a poncho around 2 o'clock all the way through the rest of the evening hours. Rain is definitely a possibility. 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock before things should clear up a little bit more, maybe just after sunset. We'll time out more of these showers and storms for you more specifically here around 2 o'clock, maybe some showers around the Alachua County area. These continue to just get fired up all the way into the evening hours. But after sunset, we should start to see things clear up a little bit, and those clouds will just stick around, low temperatures sticking around the mid-60s. But it's going to get a lot cooler heading into the later parts of this week. Take a look. It's Saturday, Friday, 45, 50 degrees. If you're taking the kids out for Halloween, you might actually want to make sure they have a couple of layers on just to keep them a little bit warmer out there, considering some of these cooler temperatures we'll be getting, at least from a Florida perspective. That cold front over here is what we're seeing roll through today, but by the time Wednesday comes around, we have this other cold front coming through that'll really bring in that cooler, dry air that'll stick around through the weekend and bring those even cooler temperatures. Here's Hurricane Melissa around Thursday at this time. This cold front playing a key role in kind of pushing this storm to the east and making it not a really big threat for the U.S. East Coast as it continues to move through. And as that cold front moves through, we also see more of that dry air come in. It should be a really nice weekend out there. Let's look at Hurricane Melissa. Just a really well-defined storm right now. Perfect eye at the moment. Just really a picture-perfect storm, and it'll cause some really damaging effects in Jamaica and other parts of Hispaniola as it continues to move really slowly. But what matters is the track for us is keeping well off to the northeast. The storm should weaken a little bit as it goes through eastern Cuba, running into some mountains. But once it gets into the tropical Atlantic, not really as much of a concern for us. Let's take a look, one last look at our 7-day forecast. Looking pretty nice after a rainy day today. I'll have one final look at the weather coming up in about 10 minutes.
It's Spine Health Awareness Month, and while you might not think much about your spine, it's important to keep it healthy, especially as you age. Mandy Gaither breaks down ways to protect it and lessen the risk of major medical issues.
The simple things you may take for granted, like getting out of bed or walking your dog, are all made possible by your spine.
As we age, it's imperative to pay attention to how the spine actually changes.
Dr. Terrence Verla with the Orlando Health Neuroscience Institute says as we age, spine health gets harder to maintain and can lead to limitations in our mobility and affect quality of life. To protect spinal health, he says have a healthy diet with foods rich in vitamin D and calcium that can help strengthen bones and keep your body physically fit through exercise and by maintaining a healthy weight. He also says posture is important.
It helps keep the spinal column neutral and evenly redistributes the load in a way that can maintain a healthy spine and a healthy lifestyle.
Verla says one of the most common spinal conditions later in life is degenerative scoliosis. As joints wear down, it can create a curvature in the spine.
Those patients could have back pain, pain shooting down their legs, numbness, tingling, and sometimes even weakness.
If you have any of those symptoms, Verla says to see a doctor, as early detection and treatment can help keep the condition from progressing.
It is a reason to at least consult with your primary care provider, who can order all the necessary tests or just a simple x-ray to figure out, what's going on.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Dr. Berla says degenerative scoliosis typically starts with one problem, like an aching back or hurt leg, but it can progress to causing multiple issues, which is why treating it early is important.
If you play the Mega Millions jackpot, you might win $714 million. That's the game's 9th largest amount of money ever. Nobody won the big prize after Friday's drawing, but the lottery says 482,000 tickets did win smaller prizes. The next drawing is on Tuesday.
With holiday season just around the corner, your Amazon Prime account can save you money at the gas pump. Amazon says Prime members can now get 20 cents off every gallon of gas at participating BP, Amoco, and AM/PM stations. The offer runs through December 26, but it's only good on Fridays. To redeem your savings, create a free Earn5 account and link it to your Amazon Prime. If you miss out, don't worry. Prime members can still get 10 cents off of a gallon after December 26.
Open enrollment is back. You can enroll, renew, or change healthcare plans for the upcoming year. But no matter whether you choose a healthcare plan through your employer or the Affordable Care Act, most plans are likely to change. Maribel Gonzalez details the ways you can navigate healthcare sticker shock for 2026.
If you obtain health insurance through work,
the total health cost of health benefits is going to rise by 6.5% next year, and that is the highest increase we've seen in 15 years.
Beth Umlin from the consulting firm Mercer says employees will feel it through paycheck deductions, as employers may shift more healthcare costs to staffers.
The same healthcare service and good that you bought last year is going to be higher.
A survey by KFF, a nonpartisan health policy research group, found weight loss drug use is driving up costs for some larger firms.
Many of those employers told us that their spending was higher than they expected, and that the GLP-1s is making up a big part of their prescription drug spending.
Separately, Marketplace customers could see premiums more than double next year if Affordable Care Act enhanced tax credits expire.
We've been paying about $650 a month, and according to the new premiums, they would go up to about between $1,900 to $2,000 for the same plan.
Small business owner Michelle Mazer and her husband are facing tough choices.
It would either be me re-entering the workforce and shutting down my small business, or he needs to come out of retirement and go back to work.
So what can consumers do to navigate the costs?
It's kind of a joke that people typically spend less time picking out a health plan than picking out a television, but this would be a year to really focus in on all the options.
If you are dealing with hot flashes and night sweats related to menopause, a new treatment option might help. The Food and Drug Administration has approved Linguet taken once a day. Unlike other therapies, the drug does not rely on hormones. Instead, it's designed to block brain chemicals that trigger symptoms. A clinical trial found women saw 73% reduction in symptom frequency after 12 weeks of taking the drug. That's compared to 47% for those on a placebo. The drug will be available in the U.S. starting in November. Coming up after the break, UF soccer team makes it to the postseason for the first time in 4 years.
And UF's volleyball team continues their hot streak over the weekend. The WUFT sports team breaks it all down next.
I'm Josh Stevens with your Midday Sports. Florida volleyball continued its torrid stretch with a sweep over Arkansas Sunday behind 16 kills from Jordan Bird, marking its fifth win in the last 6 contests. After a trip to the regional semifinals a year ago, Florida came out of the gates stumbling, posting a pedestrian 5-4 record out of conference, pushing them out of the AP Top 25 for the first time since 1991. However, the Gators had turned things around in conference play, only losing to number 3 Kentucky in the last 6 games. Florida has the most votes out of any unranked team and may find themselves back in the top 25 soon. Despite losing 4-1 to LSU Sunday, the Gators soccer team still advanced to the SEC tournament for the first time since 2021. LSU scored in the opening minute and never looked back, while Florida was able to cut it to a 2-1 game in the 65th minute. A pair of late goals sealed the win for the Tigers. A tie between Auburn and Mississippi State clinched the playoff spot for Florida, who is the 11th seed in the 12-seed playoff format. Up first in the tournament for the Gators is Kentucky. The last time the Gators met the Wildcats was in the beginning of October when they tied 1-1. Eastside improved to 7-2 over a 45-25 win over North Marion. Wide receiver Caleb McKinnon took an end-around for a long touchdown run to open the scoring festivities, but he wasn't done yet. Later in the game, McKinnon went over the top of the defense not once, but twice for 2 big touchdown passes from quarterback Nelson Tambling to give him 3 end zone trips on the day. Eastside will look to end the season on a high note against rival Gainesville High School on Friday. And that's your Midday Sports. I'm Josh Stevens. Let's go back to Oriana and Catherine to find out what's coming first on First at 5.
Thanks, Josh. You know, I'm sure a lot of us have been feeling like this rain is sticking around. Aiden, can you tell us more?
Yeah, you'll need the umbrellas out for today, but looking ahead to the rest of the week, it's looking really nice out there. One last look at the 7-day. Rain chances sticking around, but next week it's just looking, later this week, looking perfect. Mid-70s, lows around even the high 40s for some of us. It's just going to be a great weekend and a great Halloween weekend as well.